Why, hello there, interwebs. Andy McCabe here. I'm driving from Bend to Reno, going down for the RIA conference. Looking forward to it. On my way down, though, I'm listening to Michelle Blivens on her podcast, talking about the above average hurricane season we're about to experience for the 7th year in a row. She did a great interview with a climatologist out of Colorado somewhere, Colorado State maybe. But the gist of it is this could be the new normal. This could be every single year we're looking at a lot of major storms and a lot of storms making landfall, a lot of damages. So a lot of people think this is a good thing, and it is. For restoration, it is, right? We're in the business of when everyone else is having a shitty day, we're the ones making money. But, what are you going to do? That's the business we chose to be in. And I think most of us come at it with a servant's heart, which is good, which helps. But when you talk about hurricane damage, you talk about something that is massive. A hurricane is not the same as a broken pipe in the bathroom. A hurricane is not the same as the refrigerator ice maker line breaking. Or anything else that we do on the daily basis, because the damage is so widespread that there is no possible way the local service providers can even begin to touch servicing all the needs that happen after a hurricane hits. So naturally, people come from across the country. We respond in a meaningful way. But it feels like every single year, we don't talk about it, especially in the groups. Restoration Rebels is no different. We don't talk about it until that first big one looks like it's for sure going to hit. And then all the chatter talks. Who's going? Where are we doing? What are we doing? Blah, blah, blah. And the people that are good at it are going, and they're not talking about it. The rest of the people are talking about it and talking about responding to their first major event, which is fine. There's good money to be made, but there's also businesses and livelihoods to be lost if you do it wrong. So I want to talk about, sorry about that 25-minute lead-in, I want to talk about what it takes to take your business. If you're a small operator, let's say you're doing $2 million, $500 to $2 million a year, but a major event happens in your market, whether that's a hurricane or that's a freeze. I mean, the entire state of Texas froze for 5 days. It was nuts. Nobody saw it coming, and nobody could respond, by themselves. I ended up getting flown down and working 25 or 30 files for a restorer who's in Texas, and he realized he's a smart one. So I want to talk about that. What does it take to respond if you're a local guy and one of these lands in your lap, for lack of a better term? You need to think ahead. You need to plan ahead. First off, if you're not planning for this to happen and it happens, don't try to respond then. You're going to make the wrong response. Do the best you can, but don't get yourself overstretched. That's the number one killer of these folks. They just get themselves overstretched. They don't say no soon enough. They say yes to too many, and they end up just planting flags all over the place, but not getting enough work done, and they get kicked off jobs, they get sued, and it's just bad for their reputation, it's bad for their business. So what do the smart guys do? Smart guys plan ahead. They look at their operation and look at what can you scale and what do you need to farm out? What do you need to sub out? Equipment is the easiest thing to scale. You can always find somebody. There's tons of services out there. Restoration Co. is a great one. That's a great example of, I don't need to own all the equipment that I need. I just need to know a guy. Get a hold of Restoration Co. But that's just one part. What about doing the actual work? Demolition, water damage, stuff like that, board ups, takes bodies. Do you have good contacts in the local market where you can go find framers in a hurry? Keep in mind, a lot of these regular businesses like contractors and remodelers, they're going to be out of business because of this major event. Maybe their business itself got destroyed. They're going to be out of their homes, but they're all going to be looking for work. So do you have an idea? Have you had those conversations ahead of time? Hey, if I get in a pinch, can I hire you guys to come do some stuff for me? And that's not just framing. That's not just board up. That's mitigation. It's plumbers. It's all the stuff. Do you have access to the bodies to handle 100x what your usual revenue is? And that's what it comes down to, 100x. Take whatever your revenue is, knowing what you have in the stables, you're doing this kind of revenue, 100x that, what does your business look like? And I'll tell you, a lot of guys take care of the equipment. A lot of guys take care of the labor component. A lot of guys take care of, I lost my train of thought. It's a beautiful country. So, but what a lot of folks don't think about is the fact that we work in the insurance repair industry. That requires certain things of a contractor, and if that contractor hopes to get paid. One of those things is an Xactimate estimate. Don't talk to me about Symbility. If you are a sole operator and you are doing the demo, the drawing, the sketching, the scoping, and the writing, and the billing, and the collecting, well, you can't scale. You cannot. But what you can do is start subbing all that other stuff out. Claims delegates, we do inspections. We do Matterports. We do hovers. We fly to events to take that project management and estimate role, not project management so much, but we do that too on the MIT side. We take that function out of your hands and just get it done. Do you have access to 25 Xactimate estimators? Do you have access to a Matterport camera? Do you have access to the Xactimate program, right? Because if you only have one license, you can only write one at a time. Well, you're going to need to write 10 at a time. How are you going to do that? You scale out. You talk to folks like claims delegates. That is where the smart people start putting their plans. And if you start that planning now, you start building those relationships now, making those phone calls now. Hey, if something happens, what's it going to take? Can I get into your system, right? Can I get into, do your intake form so we're not doing the intake process, on a Saturday night when the rain's coming in through the roof in mid-August or October. Get it all set up ahead of time. Get your equipment contracts, get a hold of Restoration Co. Say, hey, what's it going to take? If I need 5,000 CFM, what does that look like? What do we do? What's the process? What's the SOP? How soon can I expect equipment once I give you the phone call? Things like that. Develop that game plan. Write it out. Get your disaster response book together and then put it on the shelf. And maybe it happens and maybe it doesn't. Maybe it happens and maybe it doesn't. If it doesn't happen, then hopefully it's a great exercise. And if you do get some excess, if you want to go, you're doing really good in business and you get to 10 million and you say, man, I want to break off a division and start chasing. You've already got your playbook. I'm going to go start chasing major events. I've got my playbook in hand. Because guess what? That playbook plays everywhere. It's not an East Coast playbook or a West Coast playbook. These are my national contacts. These are my national vendors. These are the guys that I'm going to plug into each one of these roles. And then I'm going to go down and sign jobs. That's a viable business model. How do I know it's viable? Because I've worked in it and I see guys making millions of dollars every year. So many guys work 3 or 4 months a year. And this year is going to be no different. And we're going to have some weird other stuff thrown in too. The wildfires, no one really knows how to treat those. We're going to have some interesting stuff happen. But the hurricanes are for sure, right? Hurricanes are locked. We know we're going to get hammered. So I hope I wasn't too rambly. The key takeaway, if you're going to take away anything, is don't decide once that hurricane is coming to respond to the hurricane. Decide now. Decide early. Decide right away, I'm going to put business assets in play. I'm going to put business time planning, my response. I choose, should this happen in, closer to me, you have the option to go. I'm going to make that conscious decision. Otherwise, guess what happens to local markets when local restorers drive to out-of-region events? The local market doesn't stop having losses. So staying home and doubling down on your local presence during major catastrophes is not a bad idea. There is 100 different ways to skin the cat, but when they're out of town and their favorite customer, their client calls, hey, what? Yeah, my kid flushed a diaper again. Can you come out? And the guy's like, no, I'm in Texas. I can't do that. Who's going to handle that diaper? Who's going to handle that water loss, that Cat 3? Somebody's got to. And if you stayed home, you made a conscious decision to stay home and not chase, you're going to get that job. So hope I see some of y'all in Reno over the next couple days. Otherwise, be good.